The Viking economy was multifaceted, with a strong emphasis on both raiding and trading. While raiding was often the initial contact with new territories, the establishment of trade networks followed. The Vikings engaged in the trade of furs, timber, amber, and slaves, with their networks extending as far as the Byzantine Empire and the Abbasid Caliphate. This trade was not only a source of wealth, but also facilitated cultural exchanges that brought new technologies, ideas, and goods to Scandinavia. Viking expansion across Europe. Viking expansion varied significantly depending on the regions they encountered, resulting in a complex web of interactions across Europe. In the British Isles, Vikings established significant settlements and political entities, such as the Danelaw, a region of Viking-controlled territories in England. The founding of cities like Dublin and York by the Vikings turned these places into vibrant centers of trade and culture. In these settlements, Norse and local cultures intermingled, leading to a unique cultural synthesis that influenced language, art, and governance. The Vikings were not solely raiders, but also skilled traders and merchants. They established extensive trade routes that connected the North Atlantic with the Mediterranean and even reached the Middle East. These routes facilitated the exchange of goods such as furs, timber, slaves, and luxury items like silk and spices. The Viking trading network was vast, extending from the Byzantine Empire to the Islamic Caliphates, and played a crucial role in the economic dynamism of the Viking Age. In Eastern Europe, the Vikings, known as the Varangians, navigated the river systems of the Dnieper and Volga, establishing trade routes that connected them with the Byzantine Empire and the Islamic world. These routes were pivotal in the formation of the early Russian state, particularly through the establishment of Kievan Rus, a federation of Slavic tribes under the influence of Varangian leaders. The cultural exchanges between the Norse and Slavic peoples were profound, leading to the blending of traditions and the spread of Christianity in the region. The Vikings' role in the Mediterranean was also significant, as they established trade links with the Byzantine Empire and the Islamic Caliphates. This interaction brought them into contact with a wide array of cultures and technologies, influencing their own material culture. The Vikings' engagement in trade extended to the slave trade, which was a significant aspect of their economy. They captured and sold slaves from various regions, including the British Isles and Eastern Europe, transporting them to markets as far afield as the Islamic world. The Vikings' expeditions were not merely acts of conquest and trade. They also involved significant cultural exchanges. The Norsemen adopted various elements from the cultures they encountered, including technological innovations, artistic styles, and religious beliefs. This cultural assimilation was facilitated by intermarriage, which helped blend Norse and local traditions, creating a unique cultural milieu in regions such as the British Isles and the Frankish territories. The Viking Age and the foundation of Normandy. Introduction. The Viking Age, spanning from the late 8th to the early 11th century, represents a transformative era in European history, marked by the exploration and expansion of Scandinavian seafarers known as Vikings. This period is often characterized by the fierce raids and conquests of the Norsemen, yet their influence extended far beyond mere plundering. Vikings established extensive trade networks, settlements, and facilitated cultural exchanges across Europe and beyond. One of the most significant outcomes of this era was the foundation of Normandy in modern-day France. This region, established by the Viking leader Rollo, became a pivotal area in medieval European history, influencing not only the immediate region but also the broader European political and cultural landscape. The transformation from marauding Vikings to established rulers in Normandy is a compelling narrative of cultural assimilation, political adaptation, and the creation of a new socio-political entity that left a lasting legacy in European history. The Viking Age. Background and context. The Viking Age's roots can be traced back to the social, economic, and environmental conditions prevalent in Scandinavian societies during the late 8th century. The Norse people inhabited a rugged landscape with limited arable land, prompting a reliance on the sea for resources and trade. This maritime orientation facilitated a unique culture of seafaring and exploration. The Vikings' advanced shipbuilding techniques, particularly the development of the longship, were crucial in enabling their far-reaching expeditions. Longships were fast, versatile, and capable of navigating both open seas and shallow rivers, allowing Vikings to reach distant lands and establish trade networks. Several factors motivated the Vikings' expansion. The quest for wealth and resources was a primary driver, as Scandinavian economies were relatively poor in natural resources. Raids on wealthy monasteries and towns in Europe provided valuable plunder, including silver, gold, and other goods. Additionally, overpopulation and political instability in Scandinavia may have pushed some to seek new lands for settlement. Viking expeditions were often led by chieftains seeking wealth and status, further fueled by a culture that celebrated martial prowess and adventurous exploration. Scandinavian society was organized around a hierarchical structure that included a king or chieftain at the top, followed by a class of free farmers, warriors, and a lower class of thralls or slaves. This structure played a crucial role in Viking expeditions, as leaders sought to expand their wealth and power by acquiring new lands and resources. The concept of landnam, or land-taking, was central to Viking expansion, as it allowed successful leaders to redistribute land to their followers, ensuring loyalty and strengthening their power base. The Vikings in Francia. The incursions of the Vikings into Francia marked a significant phase in their expansion. The political landscape of Francia, dominated by the Carolingian Empire, was particularly vulnerable following the death of Charlemagne in 814. The empire, once a cohesive entity under Charlemagne's rule, began to fragment as his grandsons divided the territory among themselves according to the Treaty of Verdun in 843. This fragmentation weakened central authority, making the region susceptible to external threats, including Viking raids. Viking raids in Francia targeted wealthy monasteries, trading towns, and major cities. The monasteries were particularly attractive targets due to their wealth and relative lack of defenses. The Vikings' ability to conduct large-scale military operations was exemplified by the Siege of Paris in 885 to 886, where a substantial Viking force, led by leaders such as Siegfried and Rollo, laid siege to the city. Despite failing to capture Paris, the siege exposed the vulnerabilities of the Frankish defenses and underscored the need for a more coordinated response to the Viking threat. The impact of these raids was profound. They not only disrupted trade and agriculture, but also had significant cultural and psychological effects. The destruction of monasteries, which were centers of learning and culture, was a severe blow to the intellectual life of the region. Moreover, the Viking threat exacerbated the political fragmentation of the Carolingian Empire, as local rulers sought to fortify their territories and negotiate separate peace agreements with the invaders. In response to the Viking threat, the Carolingian rulers and their successors implemented various strategies, including the construction of fortifications and the payment of tribute, known as Danegeld, to deter further attacks. However, these measures were often insufficient, as the Vikings continued to raid and establish settlements along the Seine and other major rivers. The establishment of permanent Viking settlements in Francia marked a shift from raiding to colonization, as the Norsemen sought to integrate into the local economy and society. The Vikings' activities in Francia also included diplomatic and political maneuvers. They engaged in negotiations with local rulers, sometimes receiving land and titles in exchange for peace or military service. These agreements, known as foedus, allowed the Vikings to establish themselves as legitimate powers within the Frankish territories. The most notable of these agreements was the Treaty of St. Clair-sur-Epte, which led to the foundation of Normandy. Rollo and the Treaty of St. Clair-sur-Epte. Rollo, a prominent Viking leader, emerged as a key figure during this period of turmoil. His origins are subject to historical debate, with some sources suggesting Danish origins and others proposing Norwegian roots. Regardless of his exact background, Rollo became a formidable force in the region, leading raids and establishing a base of power along the Seine River. His participation in the Siege of Paris cemented his reputation and marked him as a leader of note among the Viking communities. The Treaty of Saint-Clair-sur-Epte, signed in 911, marked a pivotal moment in the relationship between the Vikings and the Frankish crown. Negotiated between Rollo and Charles the Simple, the treaty granted Rollo and his followers a significant portion of land along the lower Seine, including the town of Rouen. In exchange, Rollo pledged allegiance to the Frankish king and agreed to defend the region against further Viking incursions. This agreement effectively established the Duchy of Normandy. The treaty's terms also included Rollo's conversion to Christianity, a condition that he and his warriors accepted. The baptism of Rollo and his men was not merely a symbolic act. It represented a significant shift in their identity and status. By embracing Christianity, Rollo and his followers were integrated into the Frankish political and social framework, transforming from pagan outsiders into legitimate Christian rulers. This conversion also facilitated the assimilation of Norse and Frankish cultures, as the new Norman rulers adopted Frankish customs, language, and governance structures. The establishment of Normandy marked a critical juncture in the history of Viking expansion. Unlike previous Viking incursions, which were primarily characterized by raiding, the foundation of Normandy represented a more permanent and structured settlement. The Normans, as Rollo's followers came to be known, quickly adapted to their new environment, adopting the feudal system that characterized Frankish society. This adaptation included the development of a vassalage system, where the Norman duke granted lands to his followers in exchange for military service and loyalty. Rollo's leadership and the establishment of Normandy also set a precedent for other Viking leaders to seek similar arrangements with local rulers. This practice of securing land and titles in exchange for military service or tribute became a common strategy among Viking leaders, leading to the establishment of other Norse-ruled territories across Europe. The Normans' integration into the Frankish realm marked a significant shift in Viking strategy, from raiding and plundering to governance and state-building. The evolution of Normandy. Under Rollo and his successors, Normandy developed into a prosperous and influential duchy. The Normans quickly adopted the administrative and military practices of the Frankish realm, blending them with their own Norse traditions. This synthesis created a unique Norman culture characterized by a strong emphasis on martial values, feudal loyalty, and Christian piety. One of the most notable aspects of Norman culture was their military prowess, particularly their use of heavy cavalry. The Normans became known for their disciplined and effective use of mounted knights, a practice they would later export to England and beyond. The construction of castles, another hallmark of Norman military strategy, helped to secure their territories and project power. These castles served not only as military strongholds, but also as administrative centers, reflecting the dual nature of Norman rule as both warriors and governors. The Normans were also adept administrators. They established a feudal system that balanced the interests of the local aristocracy with those of the central authority. The Norman dukes exercised significant control over their vassals, fostering a strong sense of loyalty and mutual obligation. This feudal structure allowed the Normans to maintain a stable and cohesive political entity, even as they expanded their influence. The Normans implemented a legal and administrative system that included the use of writs, charters, and records, which facilitated governance and reinforced the authority of the ducal court. Christianity played a crucial role in the Norman assimilation process. The Norman rulers supported the construction of churches and monasteries, endowing them with land and wealth. This patronage helped to legitimize their rule and facilitated the spread of Christianity among their subjects. The monasteries became centers of learning and culture, contributing to the region's intellectual and artistic development. The establishment of ecclesiastical institutions also reinforced the Norman rulers' ties to the broader Christian world, linking them with the papacy and other European powers. The evolution of Normandy was not without challenges. The region faced internal conflicts, such as disputes over succession and vassal loyalty, as well as external threats from neighboring territories and Viking raiders. However, the Normans proved adept at navigating these challenges, using a combination of diplomacy, marriage alliances, and military strength to consolidate their power. The Norman ducal line, beginning with Rollo, established a stable and enduring political entity that became a model for other regions. The Normans' military and administrative innovations were instrumental in their ability to maintain control over their territories. The development of feudalism in Normandy, with its emphasis on vassalage and land tenure, created a stable and hierarchical society. This system allowed the Normans to mobilize resources and manpower effectively, supporting their military campaigns and governance. The construction of castles and fortified towns also played a crucial role in consolidating Norman power, providing defensible centers of administration and control. Normandy's impact on European politics. Normandy's strategic location and military strength made it a key player in the politics of medieval Europe. The Norman dukes often acted independently of the French crown, pursuing their own interests and expanding their territories. One of the most significant events in Norman history was the Norman conquest of England in 1066, led by Duke William the Conqueror, a descendant of Rollo. The conquest established the Normans as a dominant force in both England and Normandy, reshaping the political landscape of Western Europe. The Norman conquest had profound consequences for England. The Normans introduced new forms of governance, land tenure, and military organization that had a lasting impact on English society. The introduction of the feudal system, the construction of castles, and the establishment of a centralized administrative system transformed the political and social structures of England. The Normans also played a crucial role in the cultural and linguistic development of England, with the Norman French language influencing the development of Middle English. Beyond England, the Normans established a significant presence in southern Italy and Sicily, where they founded the Kingdom of Sicily. Their military and administrative expertise, combined with their ability to assimilate local cultures, enabled the Normans to create a multi-ethnic and multi-religious state that became a cultural and intellectual hub in the Mediterranean. The Kingdom of Sicily became a center of cultural exchange, where Byzantine, Islamic, and Latin Christian traditions coexisted and interacted. Norman architecture, characterized by the Romanesque style, left a lasting legacy across Europe. The construction of castles, cathedrals, and monasteries in the Norman style can be seen in various regions, reflecting the Normans' influence on European art and architecture. The Norman style, with its emphasis on monumental and fortified structures, became a defining feature of medieval European architecture. The Normans also played a significant role in the Crusades, participating in various military campaigns in the Holy Land. The Normans' involvement in the Crusades was motivated by a combination of religious zeal, the desire for wealth and land, and the opportunity to gain prestige and honor. The Normans' military prowess and organizational skills made them valuable allies in the crusading efforts, and they established a number of principalities in the Crusader states. The impact of the Normans extended beyond their immediate political and military achievements. They contributed to the development of European feudalism, a system that structured society around relationships derived from the holding of land in exchange for service. The Norman adaptation and refinement of this system influenced governance in both England and their other territories. Moreover, the Normans played a role in the codification of laws and the establishment of judicial systems, which laid the groundwork for the rule of law in their domains. The Normans' influence on European politics was also evident in their diplomatic and marital alliances. The Norman dukes established ties with other European noble families through marriage, creating a network of alliances that extended across the continent. These alliances not only strengthened the Normans' political position, but also facilitated cultural exchanges and the spread of Norman customs and practices. Cultural and architectural legacy of the Normans. The cultural and architectural legacy of the Normans is a testament to their ability to blend diverse influences into a cohesive and enduring cultural identity. The Romanesque architectural style, characterized by thick walls, round arches, and sturdy pillars, became a hallmark of Norman construction. This style was not only practical, providing strong defensive structures, but also conveyed a sense of grandeur and authority. Notable examples of Norman Romanesque architecture include the Durham Cathedral in England and the Abbey of Saint Etienne in Caen, Normandy. In addition to architecture, the Normans contributed significantly to the arts and literature. They were patrons of illuminated manuscripts, a tradition that flourished in the monastic communities they supported. These manuscripts, often richly decorated with intricate designs and vibrant colors, are valuable historical artifacts that provide insights into the religious and cultural life of the period. The Normans also fostered the development of literature in both Latin and vernacular languages, promoting the works of poets, chroniclers, and scholars. The Norman influence on legal and administrative systems was equally profound. The Normans played a pivotal role in the development of the common law system in England, which has had a lasting impact on legal systems around the world. The Norman emphasis on centralized authority and the rule of law helped lay the foundations for modern governance. Their administrative practices, including the Domesday Book, a comprehensive survey of land and property in England, exemplified their systematic approach to governance. The cultural synthesis that occurred in Norman territories was particularly evident in Sicily, where Norman rulers presided over a diverse population that included Latin Christians, Byzantine Greeks, and Muslims. The Normans adopted and adapted elements from each of these cultures, creating a unique and cosmopolitan society. This cultural fusion was reflected in the art, architecture, and literature of the Kingdom of Sicily, which drew on Byzantine, Islamic, and Western European traditions. The Norman legacy also extended to language and literature. In England, the Normans introduced a considerable amount of French vocabulary, which significantly influenced the development of the English language. This linguistic impact is evident in legal, administrative, and culinary terms, many of which have French origins. The Normans also patronized literary works that celebrated chivalric values and the deeds of knights, contributing to the development of medieval Romance literature. The Normans' contribution to education and scholarship was also notable. They established and supported schools and universities, fostering a culture of learning that attracted scholars from across Europe. The Normans' patronage of the arts and sciences contributed to the intellectual revival of the 12th century, known as the 12th century Renaissance, which saw a flourishing of literature, philosophy, and science. Historiographical perspectives on the Normans. The historiography of Rollo and the early Normans has evolved significantly over time. Early medieval chroniclers often depicted the Vikings as barbaric invaders, emphasizing their destructiveness and the chaos they wrought. However, modern historians have sought to provide a more balanced and nuanced portrayal, recognizing the complexity of the Vikings' interactions with other cultures and their contributions to European history. Key sources for the history of the Normans include Dudo of St. Quintin's Historia Normanorum, which, while valuable, must be read critically due to its biases and the context in which it was written. Dudo's account, commissioned by Richard the Fearless, sought to legitimize the Norman rulers' authority by tracing their lineage back to heroic Viking ancestors. Other important sources include the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle and the writings of William of Jumiages, which provide additional perspectives on the Norman presence in England and the broader European context. Recent scholarship has emphasized the Normans' role as cultural intermediaries, highlighting their ability to adapt and integrate different cultural influences. The study of the Normans' activities in the Mediterranean, particularly in Sicily, has revealed the extent of their interactions with Islamic and Byzantine cultures. This research underscores the Normans' role in facilitating cultural exchange and the cross-pollination of ideas, technologies, and artistic styles. The Normans' legacy continues to be a subject of fascination and study. They are often portrayed in popular culture, from historical novels and films to video games, reflecting their enduring appeal. This popular interest, however, sometimes leads to oversimplified or romanticized depictions, which historians strive to correct by providing a more nuanced understanding of the Normans' impact on medieval Europe. Modern historiography has also explored the economic and social dimensions of Norman society. Studies have examined the Normans' role in developing agricultural practices, trade networks, and urbanization in their territories. The Normans' efforts to foster economic growth and stability were integral to their success as rulers and contributed to the prosperity of regions under their control. The historiographical debate continues to evolve as new archaeological discoveries and interdisciplinary approaches shed light on the complexities of Norman society. Recent research has focused on the everyday lives of ordinary people in Norman territories, exploring aspects such as diet, health, and family structures. This scholarship provides a more comprehensive understanding of the Normans' social and cultural impact. Conclusion. The foundation of Normandy by Rollo and his followers marked a turning point in the history of the Viking Age and the Frankish realm. It transformed a group of Norse invaders into a legitimate and powerful force within medieval Europe. The Normans' adoption of Frankish customs, language, and Christianity facilitated their integration into broader European society and enabled them to play a significant role in the political and cultural developments of the time. The legacy of the Viking Age in Europe is complex and multifaceted, with the Normans standing as one of its most enduring symbols. Their influence extended far beyond Normandy, shaping the course of European history through their conquests, governance, and cultural contributions. The story of Rollo and the foundation of Normandy is not only a tale of conquest and settlement, but also a testament to the transformative power of cultural exchange and adaptation. As we continue to explore and reinterpret the history of the Normans, we gain a deeper understanding of the dynamic and interconnected world of medieval Europe. The Normans' ability to integrate diverse cultural influences, their military prowess, and their administrative skills made them one of the most influential groups in medieval Europe. The Normans not only reshaped the regions they conquered, but also left a lasting impact on the broader European cultural and political landscape. Their legacy can be seen in the architecture, legal systems, and cultural practices that continue to influence modern society. The study of the Normans and their history provides valuable insights into the processes of cultural exchange, migration, and state formation. The Norman story is a reminder of the ways in which diverse cultures can interact, influence each other, and create new and dynamic societies. The Normans' ability to adapt to changing circumstances and to integrate new cultural influences is a testament to the resilience and creativity of human societies. In conclusion, the history of the Normans is a rich and complex narrative that offers valuable lessons for understanding the past and the present. The Normans' legacy is a testament to the enduring power of cultural exchange and the ways in which diverse societies can come together to create new and vibrant cultures. As we continue to study and learn from the history of the Normans, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the rich tapestry of human history and the ways in which diverse cultures have shaped our world. Thus, our detailed exploration of the Viking Age and the foundation of Normandy, examining the various aspects of Viking society, their expansion across Europe, the establishment and evolution of Normandy, and the cultural and political impact of the Normans. We have offered insights into the dynamic and interconnected nature of medieval European history, highlighting the transformative role of the Normans in shaping the continent's cultural and political landscape. Thanks for joining us for a deeper understanding of the Viking Age and the transformation of the Vikings into the Normans, exploring the cultural, political, and social aspects of this process. Thus, we now have a good grasp of the impact of the Normans on European history, their cultural legacy, and the historiographical perspectives on their role. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe to Medieval Chronicles 1066 for more journeys to the past. Stay curious.